Hello guys and welcome to my next guide. Despite the Poisonous Concoction has been nerfed in 4 different ways and got only a little bit of a buff back, I decided to make a build with it because it's probably one of my favorite abilities in the game. And I ended up with a very chill, good for mapping build, but not exactly a great one for killing endgame bosses. But generally it's a very fun, chill build to just run through the maps. You don't have to focus a lot because it's very hard to die on it. Here is my attempt at beating T4 Breachlord. It didn't go very well, so maybe leave a sub to cheer me up a little bit. Mechanics of the build are very simple. We find enemies, we throw toxic brick at them, they die in pain, and then we run, find a big group, and then what we do? We click Plague Nova. Oops, I got cancelled. We click Plague Nova and everything dies. That's everything this build do. If you run into something a bit tankier than that, you can always use Despair. Lowering chaos resistance, of course, will make the poison deal a little bit more damage, which is very useful. Build is pretty tanky. We have 90% evasion. You know, sometimes it drops when you get hit now and then. We get 20% chance to block because we are running a buckler. It's pretty useful, you know. It has good defensive stats. We have all of the resistances capped. We have 2000 life, which is pretty decent, honestly, for evasion build. God bless, we can have more than 1k. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. And we are running 1k energy shield, because why not? We're using Ghost Dance, so whenever we get hit, we're using one of the shrouds to recover energy shield. Which means that the energy shield we have is practically just flat damage reduction for just in case we get hit. Let's talk about the tree now. The passive tree of the build is very straightforward. We focus to get every single poison node that we can. That isn't about getting chance to poison hit, because we already have a guaranteed poison on Poisonous Concoction. We wanna get a lot of evasion. Since we're playing with Hiri's Irie, we're gonna double down on the idea of not getting hit in the first place. We take notes like Careful Consideration, which gives us 100% increased evasion rating if we have not been hit recently. And also High Alert. Very good. We're gonna be on full life most of the time, so we get nice stun threshold increase and 50% increase evasion. Very good notes. We're using Subterfuge Mask for that energy shield, evasion hybrid, and also Spectral Ward. It doesn't do that much because our body armor has only 1.1k evasion, and as you can get like a better version than mine. But it's still 100 extra energy shield, so hey, why not, right? We wanna take anything that will increase our damage. So we're interested in projectile damage, attack damage, physical damage. Later on, if you get higher level than I'm right now level 90, you can also grab some damage here. You can technically grab some of these. Possibly Killer Instinct is pretty good. We should be on full life most of the time, so it's like 50% increased damage for 3 points. Very good value. And if we get hit and we're low life, then boom, it's even more now, right? We have 3 jewel sockets. We are interested in getting emeralds that have poison magnitude and projectile damage or attack damage. Both are fine. Anything extra is nice, right? The main focus is magnitude of poison and some extra damage. And one of the jewels will be Megalomaniac, because we will want to grab Deterioration. That's 20% increased magnitude of damaging ailments we inflict. It's more than we can get from emeralds anyway. And I was able to get one that also gives us a short shot. Projectile speed and attack speed don't really matter to this build too much, and we get extra 20% increased projectile damage. Very nice. And for the Amulet Anointment, we get Dark Entries. You could technically get it on Megalomaniac as well, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like 10 times more expensive, so you should keep it on an Amulet. I'm perfectly fine with only 5 points in a tree being for the Flask. We take those two here to get 0.1 charges per second and extra intelligence. That's an intelligence on it is very good because we need intelligence to run energy shield helmet. And also those 3 nodes here to make the throwing cost cheaper. Because as I said, Poisonous Concoction was nerfed in multiple ways. I guess I'm gonna go over it now. It was 3 mana flash charges per throw, now it's 5. You get those nodes and also a belt that I'm gonna show later in the gear section. It reduces the cost by 40%, so instead of 5 we go back to 3 as it was pre-nerf, so yippee. Next nerf, GGG made Poisonous Concoction deal physical damage instead of chaos, which is a big fucking blow, because now we cannot use Chaos Infusion, which was extremely good support gem for the skill, which doesn't do shit for us because we cannot use Brutality on it, because then we don't deal chaos damage with poison anymore, so that's a no-no. And the best thing we have in place of Chaos Infusion is fucking Heft. Another nerf for the skill, they finally force you to have empty hand to use the skill. So you cannot use Widow Hail with Quiver for extra 15 levels anymore. Which is, which is fair. It's fair, it was very broken. Getting so many levels so easily, very broken. But the problem is now we are not allowed to hold a weapon, which means that we cannot be having a martial weapon equipped anymore. We don't have access to Herald of Plague anymore, which was very useful because the spread of the poison was actually additive with the one we get from the Pathfinder Ascendancy, practically doubling the range of the poison spread. Now it's gone because we cannot have martial weapon, and also since we are obviously playing evasion, we also don't have access to Wind Dancer because this one also requires martial weapon. So that's another way we got nerfed. That's a 4-way nerf to the skill, and all we got back for it is 200% more magnitude of poison instead of 100%. But I don't think it's anywhere close using level 37 Poisonous Concoction or something like that. So the skill got fucking hacked, okay? It was cacked. But it's fine, because we still can make a fun build with it, it's alright. For the Ascendancies, we of course take the skill itself. We take Poison being able to spread to enemies within 1.5 meters, because otherwise we have 0 AoE and 0 clear. We can take one of 3 immunities: Freeze, Shock, and Ignite. Let's be real, everyone will take Freeze, because we hate being frozen. And then we're gonna continue and we're gonna get 30% of evasion, also grant elemental damage reduction. Which is great, because it's practically armor for elemental damage from evasion. I'm pretty sure it applies after the percentage from the resistances, which would make it way more effective. But even if it doesn't, then it's still some extra damage reduction, because if I'm running around with like 20k evasion, it's still about 7000 of evasion being used for elemental damage reduction. Very useful. For the skills, we obviously have Poisonous Concoction. We're using Ghost Dance for the tankiness, as I mentioned before. Plague Bearer, because we want some extra AoE and sometimes to poison the boss without using the charges, because it's pretty good for it. And we have Alchemist Boon, because we just want to generate more charges. If you think you generate enough charges, you could swap it out for a companion that always shocks to increase the damage of the poison. Or you can technically take Withering Present, so you can apply Wither to the bosses around you and get extra damage from the poison this way. And now it's time to talk about the gear. As I mentioned before, we are using Hiri Airi. It gives us acrobatics pretty much until we get hit. We get dexterity, it's nice. It's a very good body armor, to be honest. When the next big update comes in PoE and we have a new league, I'm definitely gonna make some build with it. We are using purely energy shield helmet. This one is pretty bad, I could replace it to be much better. But I'm out of currency, I'm fucking broke now because nobody wants to buy my items. League dead. Hashtag league dead. And the belt. Belt is very important for this build. Make sure you get one that has suffix that will reduce the flask charges used, because then we get to throw Poisonous Concoction much cheaper, and you also would want to get the one that gives you increased charges gained, because why not? And then that leaves us with one extra suffix, so you can get some resistance on it. I was able to get very good Chaos one, and of course we get HP on the belt, because we don't want to die too often. For the base of the belt we have few options. I got one that gets extra charges, but you can also get the one that has less used charges, which probably would be one of the best ones here. Or you can get one that gives you 0.17 of charges per second. All 3 options are perfectly fine. This one's probably the least impactful, but it was cheap, so I got it. And also very important for this build, get yourself a big mana flask that has a lot of increased charges, because the more maximum charges, the more you can store in one go. With my current setup, I was able to throw Poisonous Concoction like 50 times in a row, non-stop, and only then I ran out. You want some rings with physical damage to attacks, evasion, and capping attributes and resistances. Same with gloves. I'm using Buckler purely for just defensive stats. I get a lot of evasion, I get a lot of health, and all 3 resistances. If you already capped your resistances, you can look into maybe getting maximum resistance to get even tankier for damage incoming to you. An amulet, I think this is probably one of the best in slot that I could get. Like, we get 3 levels of projectiles, very important. 2 other suffixes cap resistances, which is very good. It has HP, although it's pretty low roll. And we also get very high amount of energy shield from this amulet. And some extra evasion. Like, I generally think, for me, personally, it's best in slot. Instead of that HP, we could get 30 spirit to get 1 extra aura, which would be probably even better. And of course, make sure it's not corrupted, because you want to get dark entries anointed onto it. Both are just classic move speed and stats, no biggie. What's really cool about this build is that it does not use mana almost at all. Throwing Poisonous Concoction doesn't cost mana, it only takes charges from the mana flask. Plague Nova is completely free whatsoever. The only thing that costs mana here is when we put Despair, but like once every 10 seconds, so it's on average 15 mana per second. You can very casually get yourself a flask that will remove mana from you. That's not a big deal, that's zero problem at all. Or you can try to tinker with stuff like Lucidity and stuff, and get yourself some of the damage taken go into mana, because it's not really a waste, you know. It's just extra protection at pretty much no cost. Of course, it will take some points in the tree, but you can grab it. Feel free. As I said, generally for the mapping, it's a very fun, enjoyable build. It's probably the most fun I had this league running through the maps. I was not able to kill T4 Breachlord. I was able to deal 12 million damage to him before I died. Very unfortunate. It was a long struggle, but in the end he got me. It is definitely possible to kill the pinnacle bosses with this build, but why would you? That's pretty much it for the build. Feel free to give it a try, and if you like the video, remember to leave a subscription, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.